In fact, I did it to my two kids.
All right, Chase, the experiment is live.
Experiment?
We'll see what happens. Huh?
Where's the link?
Where's the link already?
I tested.
All right. Yeah, actually, that would be helpful. You find me on. Hey, you want a Canvas course too? What do you want from me, man? Wait a minute. What's going on here? Am I in the wrong year? I'm in the wrong year. What happened? Yep. Last year's Canvas course does not work for you. Got it. There's a publish button. Okay. Sweet. All right, let me do the attendance thing first. Well, Chase, do you need the link, or you just need to just find me on YouTube?
I grabbed the YouTube channel from.
Oh, it's unlisted. Okay, let me see if I can find the link. Will the link be here in my stuffs?
You might need to go to your YouTube channel.
Oh my gosh, why are you making everything difficult?
Go to YouTube.
There we go. Content.
Oh, live streaming?
That's the idea. So there we go. And we'll do this, and that's definitely not a pirated book. No one saw that. Okay. All right, we'll do the attendance while Chase checks us out. Elijah is here. Which one? We're going to have to fight for dominance. Mr. Abston is here. Connor is there. We got a Talon. I saw. There we go. Austin Beard. Ish. Austin has facial hair. Sort of. Matthew. I did see a Matthew. Jonathan. That's you. And John. Jonathan and a John. It's not as bad as two Elijahs, but we'll make it work. Caden. There he is. Julia. Josiah is here. Ian. You're not Ian. Welcome. You might be looking for the class. Right, we'll hold a spot. Grace. Welcome back. Sam. Taking classes out of order. Brandon. Chaz, also out of order. And doubling down. Andy's here. It's not here. Jake. Okay, thank you. Everyone's blurring together. Sorry. I'm only on my fourth cup of coffee. Everything's weird. Addison. Yes, you too. Apparently we have room for a second Elijah. That would be you. All right. Cooper. Sam. I thought I saw Sam. There's Sam. Felipe. And Micah. Micah Yates. There he is. Okay. All right. We are live streaming. So you'll get a YouTube link at the end of class. So if you need to rewatch things, you're not on the roll. Which class are you here for? Huh? This is not macro. Does this look like a macroeconomics group? No. Wrong class. Sorry. That's okay. But in the meantime, our Ian showed up, so that's good. And just barely in time. All right. So in the past, I would just use Zoom to record all the class periods in case you needed to go back and see stuff. And then ACU, in their infinite wisdom, decided that I couldn't have like 10 billion gigabytes of drive space. So I had to delete all those. And so we're trying for the first time live streaming to YouTube. We'll see how this works. The live stream is not mean you get to stay home and just watch it online. Attendance will still be taken. The live stream recorded is because I'm going to go a little fast. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff in class. And so when you're working on your homework on Friday night or whatever, and you're like, what the heck was he talking about on Tuesday? That's what the video is for. You can go back and rewatch it. It is not an attendance option. All right, so we got that out of the way. Let's look at the syllabus really quick, and then we'll go to the fun stuff. You'll notice the syllabus is not fun stuff. All right, this is not macroeconomics. No one surprised? No one else? Okay. This doesn't feel like a macroeconomics shirt. There were clues. I'm just saying there were clues. Here's all the 101 ways to reach me. Office hours are very minimal at this point. I teach all day Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you catch me in my office between, say, 11:30 and noon, while I'm eating whatever nonsense I managed to bring from home because there's not even enough time to go to lunch. That's office hours. Or I'm happy to meet with you anytime after classes on request, or I'm almost always on Discord. So that's a good place for questions and answers. There is an inbox here in Canvas that I check once every other year or so. So if you use that to send me messages, you're probably not going to get a response, unfortunately. You showed up to class, so you know where we're at and when we're at. So that's good. We're going to be doing mostly Blender in this class. We do have a textbook we'll be using a little bit. This is it. Should be in the campus store, or, whatever. Find it somewhere else. Probably way cheaper. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff. Grading. I don't think I have any repeats in here. No one's taken 220 before and failed it? No? Okay. All right. So then telling you grading is different doesn't mean anything to you. The grading is as such. Homework assignments, which will be weekly at least. 80% of your final grade. Participation and attendance is 10%. We'll talk more about what that means later. And then there'll be a final in here. That's another 10% of your grade. The final is just going to be more of a cumulative, like, here's everything we learned, and you've got free reign. You got to, like, maybe the week before finals week and all finals week to go nuts and make something cool, and that's your final project. There won't be a test. We'll show up for finals week, and we'll just play show and tell. We're like, what'd you make? Here's the cool thing I did. Look at all it does. And then we tell them to sit down and shut up, and we ask somebody else. So that's the grading breakdown. We'll be doing mostly Blender, all this other policy stuff. Should be pretty standard for all your classes. We will be doing homework at least weekly, maybe sometimes more than one assignment a week. Lots of that will be just me showing you how to do stuff in class and you following along. And then raising your hand because I went too fast. And then Chase back here will help you, hopefully, fingers crossed, try to keep caught up. And if you just can't keep caught up, then that's what the videos are for. Term project, we talked about that. Participation, please participate. Please show up. Please be on task. Please don't watch cartoons or ESPN or play Flash games or whatever in here. Don't do that. We're here for a reason. Let's stick with that. On that, okay, so we'll get to attendance in a minute and that. Academic integrity. You're not supposed to cheat. I don't know if you knew that. Christian University, we want honesty and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's forgiveness here too, but we want people to be honest. So you're not supposed to cheat. That also means you don't just find a file and turn it in as your own. In this class, I've caught lots of people doing that. It's terrible. So you get a 0 and you get an F and all that kind of stuff. You know what that's about. I have a negative tolerance policy rather than a 0 tolerance policy. So if, for example, we're going to pick on Chaz because we know it's going to be him. Right? We've got an assignment in the book and we're supposed to follow along and make a really cool time machine. And Chaz decides that he found the link in the back of the book for the completed file. And he just turns that in as his own. And I'm not stupid. I look like it, but I'm not. And I catch him. And I know he's cheated. Then Chaz doesn't get a 0 for that 100-point assignment. Chaz gets a negative 100 for that assignment. Yeah, I like that policy. It doesn't keep people from doing stuff, but it keeps them from doing it for long. So that's my academic integrity policy. Attendance for this class is going to be the same for all SITC. You can miss up to 4 classes or 2 weeks of classes without penalty. Each additional absence is a 3% reduction in your course grade. After you've missed 3 weeks worth of classes or 6 classes, I can just drop you from the course. And in the past, I've not been good about dropping people from the course when they did not show up enough, and now I have to. So you'll get dropped. You're late to class if you arrive 5 minutes after. Every 3 late arrivals is 1 absence. And then being physically present, but mentally unengaged. So if you're sitting in the back, Connor, and you're sitting there watching Adventure Time instead of doing what we're doing, then I go back and I change the attendance thing and say, Connor was not actually here. And then you get enough of those and I drop you from the class. So maybe don't do that. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, I think that's enough bad cop. All right, we'll talk about it. So to my own detriment, I will take late work in this class, but everything late is like a negative 5% per day late. So after a couple of weeks, like, you've lost all points. Like, it's not worth anything. So things happen, and I get that, and you have other classes, and I'm against that. But I understand it's a thing. So, if something happens to be late, it's okay-ish, but it's going to impact your grade. But it's not an instant 0 if it's late. Now, Canvas. I have Canvas set up to give you an instant 0 the second that something is late. That's just a reminder. That's to light a fire under you. It doesn't have to stay a 0. If you still turn it in, and by the time I get around to grading, that 0 will change to whatever it's supposed to be. But Canvas will send you a really, really nice reminder and say, hey, you got a 0 on this assignment. And you go, oh, crap. And your parents will call you because they're monitoring your Canvas and all that. And it's going to be terrible. So anyway, it'll look like the end of the world, but it's not. But it's still not good. Okay. And then, so we figured out today was the first day of class, and then we'll do midterm grades in March. I don't think we're even going to do anything big for midterms. We're just going to keep working. There's a spring break, unless it snows, as I stand here in a Hawaiian shirt instead of a sweater like I expected. If it stays warm, we'll have a spring break. And then we are the unfortunate chosen one, and our final presentation of show and tell is the last day of finals week. So we got to show up at 10 a.m. that day and look at whatever people did and call it a semester. Yeah.
You mentioned how this AC was against you having all the files or whatever on the cloud. Does that mean you need to go through and download what you can from the asset repository?
No, so we do have a DET asset repository that is counting toward my 100 gigabyte limit, but it hasn't tipped it yet. I just deleted a lot of other stuff. So no, the asset repo will stay in place. If it becomes an issue, then I will force the department to buy me more storage because we need all that stuff. So yeah, no, you don't have to do that. All right, that's the syllabus. We're going to be in Blender for basically the semester. We'll look at a few other things. We will dip into Photoshop really soon. We'll look for a little bit at Substance Painter later on down the road. And then we will also be playing in Unity. So this is for 3D modeling. which can be used for anything, right? 3D models, we can go and take them and make 3D prints of and have cool stuff, or use it in animation. My approach, since it's my background, is more like 3D models for games. So that's really kind of where we're going to focus. So we're going to spend a little bit of time in Unity, closer to the end of the semester, just saying, look, we took our 3D models and here's what we can do with them. So we'll bring them into Unity and make a scene. There'll also be an assignment at some point where I'm going to make you 3D model something and then go take it to the Maker Lab and 3D print it. Just for funsies, just to have cool stuff in your dorm / apartment / whatever. But yeah, Blender's the thing that we're going to be using. Domicile. Yeah, I think that's a good generic term. In the past, we've looked at things like Maya, 3ds Max. Those are expensive pieces of software that we can have for free as students, but we can't do anything with them. So if you're like, man, I'm going to go work for Pixar or whatever, well, they use their own stuff anyway. You're going to go work for some animation company, it's probably going to be more Maya. If you're going to go into the gaming industry, probably more 3ds Max, but Blender is overtaking all of these, just in all the industries, because it's free, it's awesome, it's getting better and better. When I first started playing with Blender, when I was doing my master's, it was absolute hot garbage. The people they had working on it were just programmers, and so like it was just a disgusting button farm. It still kind of is, but it's so much better. Yeah, and so I swore at that point, wow, Blender's disgusting, I'll never use this again, and now I teach it. So careful what you say to yourself. Yeah, things happen. So in the recently published Canvas page, you should at least have the course introduction with the syllabus, links to the Discord. Let's talk about that, I guess. Some of you are not DET majors and are just slumming it here with us. We have a Discord, and that should be still a working link to that. We have lots of discussion going on there, lots of other things. That's a good place to reach myself or our tutor Chase with any questions like, hey, Blender melted my laptop, what do I do? Things like that. So hit the Discord. There's lots of nonsense going on there, but then there's also actually productive things happening there. There's the link for our textbook. Here's a link to go download Blender. Chase updated that for us. The recent version is 3.4.1. It's a very fast download and install compared to lots of other software. So go get that. You can also get it through Steam and let Steam keep it updated for you, which is kind of cool. The other reason we'd mentioned that there's other softwares out there. I tried to teach this class for a long time using Maya. Maya just crashed on everybody, left and right. When I switched to Blender, we did so much more, so much faster, because it's just more stable. So if you run into crashes, then congrats, you've done some amazing stuff. Generally, we find it very stable. So we got some tutoring info, and then I don't even know what's in the tips and trips archive here. What do we got here? Common pitfalls, things not. Oh yeah, that's a thing. So Blender is very customizable, and you can accidentally customize it so much that you can't do anything with it because you've gotten the same. And here they've got the same panel open over and over and over again because they oopsed. And they'll tell you how to get out of that. Blender Guru is a good resource. Just random shortcuts and stuff here. Okay, that's all there. We're going to look at. So actually, let's talk about this first. So we've got a quiz that'll be due Monday night. So all the homework will be due Monday night. Following the week. So the stuff we do this week will be due next Monday night. I used to have things due on Sunday night, and what that ended up doing was making everyone not observe the Sabbath. Everyone was working their butts off on Sundays and had excuses for missing church and all that kind of stuff, and I started to feel bad about it. So things are due on Monday night, and then we meet again Tuesday morning and start over. So first thing we've got is just a quiz. It's going to be over chapter 1 of the book. There's, I don't even know how many questions, 76? Can't be 76. It's probably like worth a few points each. 22 questions. Okay, see, that's not bad. Use the book. This is me forcing you to read the book. So the first chapter is going to talk about what Blender is and what Blender does, and what a vertex is and what a line is and what a face is, and it's all good stuff. So just kind of introductory vocabulary, basically. So that's due this week, and then we'll work on this building blocks assignment. So all that being said, which is actually too much being said, now my throat hurts. You should have Blender installed, and we're just gonna make stupid stuff. We're gonna look around. This is a very low stress week. We're gonna make a bunch of shapes. We're gonna color some shapes. We're gonna move some shapes around and animate them. This is just an introduction to what Blender is and what Blender does. Do I understand 3D graphics? How far back do I need to go? Let's see if this even works.
Oh,
Yes.
why do we have two missing grades?
Yeah, there are two things that's right.
You have the right date, but you just have to set for 2019. So.
Then why didn't you do it? I don't know why this is my problem.
Yeah, we had a long time.
We've had a long time to do it, we just
Right.
haven't done it. It's been too frustrating.
So the good news is we will be building a time machine later in the semester. That's how we're going to handle this mess. I don't see them. Is that? You have, Chase is working on it. Chase is working on it. We'll fix that. All right. 3D graphics, and this will be in the quiz in the first chapter of the book. But like just to kind of explain what's happening, we are just taking points in space called a vertex, and that's got coordinates. This isn't going to be math class, I promise. Right? We just got a 3D coordinate. There's a point in space. It exists, and then we get another point in space, and it exists over here, slightly more that way. And then if we draw a line between them, then we have an edge or a line and two vertices. But that doesn't do anything in 3D. It's just a line. But then if we get 3 or more points in space with lines drawn between them, then now we have a surface, a face, a polygon. We can add polygons and make it a different shape. But ultimately, everything's just boiled down to triangles. Anyway, that's 3D. All right, so we're just dealing with a big matrix of points in 3D space. That's 3D graphics. All right, you've graduated. Move on. No. All right, so the assignment. So we're gonna go make a Blender folder. We're gonna make some folders that go inside that, and we're not gonna use a lot of the folders this week, but they're gonna be helpful in the future. And then we're going to make stuff that looks kind of like this. And I may or may not. No, I don't already have this as a video. I thought I did. It's okay. We'll do it all here. So Blender's open. Yeah, it opens up. You'll probably see a little menu before this that says use the left click to select. That's what you want to do. It used to be the right click. It was really weird. Leave all that the way it is. And we're just going to do a general. So when it says new file, we can choose a lot of different things here. We're going to be doing general, and just let's navigate around in Blender to start with. So if you use, oh my gosh, okay, let's talk. Let me back up. I forgot to mention this. You need a mouse. Beyond that, you need a 3-button mouse. The scroll wheel is button number 3, okay? So in Blender, using the default controls, and man, I don't recommend using anything but the default controls because then you'd mess other stuff up. If I click down on my scroll wheel, which is the 3rd button, and hold it and then move my mouse around, that's how I can pan around my scene. So 3-button mouse. Please, I should have sent an email telling you, please get a 3-button mouse. There's other shortcuts to do that. What is it? What are the?
It was like control and like left click.
Control and left, like.
I don't remember exactly.
I think I have my trackpad turned off. Yeah.
I revamped mine like the second I got it since I was.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So here's there. Yeah, that's what you need. So here's what we'll do. I'll walk through some stuff. If you've got a mouse with you that works, great. If you want to try to use your trackpad, great. We'll probably redo most of this on Thursday. We'll go through it again. Please get a 3-button mouse so that you can, do your job. Tools of the trade. This is our paintbrush right here. It's amazing. It's got to have 3 buttons though. All right, so that middle mouse button is how we can move around. Holding it down and panning. If I use the scroll wheel, I can zoom in and out. Way out. If I select something over here on the side, like the camera, or the light, or the cube, let's go use the cube. And then if I have my mouse over here in the viewport, and I hit F. Hello? It's not F. What is the, every other software it's F. It's, there it is. It on the number pad. Here's the other thing. If you don't have a number pad, that's also going to be crippling. I mean, not terrible. This is the first laptop I've had in a while that had a number pad. So on the number pad, if you've got a number pad, the little period, the decimal, that'll frame in on stuff. The other thing we can do is, right, if I'm way out over who knows where, gosh, right, like I don't know where my cube's at, so I can select it over here, and then I should be able to do, is it view? Yes. So I come up here to view and say frame selected, then it'll zoom in on the thing that I've got selected. So just a way to find your stuff later. There's other shortcuts for getting there. View's great. And what's cool is most of these will have, like, so it says number pad decimal right here. It'll tell me what the hotkey is. So most of the things you find, if they've got a hotkey, it'll list it in the menu. Anyway, so we've got a cube for free by default. We got the tools on the side here. I think they're pretty self-explanatory if you look at them, but this one that's look a little cross moves things, so I can move this cube around. I can use the one underneath it to rotate it. So if I grab in the open space, I can just kind of free rotate on all axes. It has itself a little seizure while I'm moving my mouse around. Or I can grab one of the colored axes and it'll just spin on that particular axis. And then there's the scaling tool. Same thing. I can stretch it on just one axis. This is like globally. So since it's rotated weird, if I stretch it now on that axis, get some weird stuff. I can stretch the whole thing by grabbing in the middle. Make a big, big cube. Too big, too big. Too large. Or, so there's, in 3D space here, if I zoom in here, see this blue square here? If I grab that, then that basically stretches on the 2 axes that's around. So that'll stretch on the red and the green that way. Something to watch out for is your scaling. Blender won't tell you when you've done something wrong, but if you stretch something too far the wrong way, it gets inverted. And Blender just doesn't care. Blender will lie to us, right to our face, and say, no, it's still a cube. But then if I go to export this, pull this into Unity, in a 3D viewer or whatever, it'll look like it's gone. Because every face, right, every triangle, every surface that we have only faces one way. So if this is a face, and I've got, it looks like the cover of a Blender book, and I do this, it's gone. You can see it from this side now, but it's like, doesn't exist. So faces are one-sided. So Blender will lie to us about surfaces not being two-faced. So I don't know what to even do with that. That's it's weird, right? Lying about not being two-faced. It's weird.
You can show it.
Yeah.
See the face orientation.
Yeah. Yeah, we can show that. Where's that guy at here? Dun, 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 dun. All right. Sweet. I inverted this one. Pretty sure, right?
No, red is inverted.
Okay. So yeah, so there's a ton of buttons in here. So this guy right here with this drop down, we're getting Chase is forcing us to get advanced. There's lots of things in here, so I can click on this face orientation, and it'll at least give me a shade to show if it's facing the right way or not. So with that on, and this should be the right way. If I take this and I scale it all the way down, what happened? There we go. Well, from inside the cube, I can see that they're red, which means if I actually wouldn't see anything in most renderers. I would just be seeing the horizon. Did they fix this where I can't invert it now accidentally? Oh, now I can't invert it. Somebody broke the brokenness, and now I've just wasted time. All right. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off. Anyway, that's the thing. If you scale things, sometimes they become inverted. Maybe they don't anymore. Maybe they fixed that. All right. So that's that. I can just have this little guy selected, and I'm only selecting things. If I've got one of the other tools selected, I could accidentally move something or scale it just by panning my mouse around. So move, rotate, scale. This transform will let us do all of that at once. It's like the Swiss Army knife, but I don't know why you need all blades out at one time. But it's here. So if you want to do that, there's move, rotate, and scale all at once. And X is how you get rid of stuff. So hit X with that selected, and then hit Enter, and it's gone. And I don't have a weirdly rotated scaled cube. So that's a cube. Let's look up here at Add. So this is where we're going to get all our stuff from. So right up here in the top, there's like layers of menus here, but Add right there is going to have meshes. And so there's where most of our primitive objects come from. So there's a plane, which is just 4 points and a one-sided face. Great for if I wanted to build just ground. So there we go. I've got a ground for my scene now. It's just a plane. And then under Add, there's also cubes, which we've just seen. Amazing. Beautiful. So versatile. Basically, we've got the foundation for Minecraft. We're done. Yep. I think Notch was just a bad 3D modeler. So he's like, I'm just still going to make a game anyway.
Cubes are easy.
Cubes are easy. What else we got? We've got circles. That's a 2D circle. A good thing to start from if we wanted to extrude it down, but like just as a circle by itself, it's just a bunch of points. It's not really a 3D object. Don't need that. Hit X. Get it out of here for now. More cool stuff. We got a UV sphere, which looks like a golf ball. We'll come back to that. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff under mesh here. It's a slightly different icosphere. We can change that up, change the number of sides, and get an instant D20. So you're good to go for all of your tabletop needs. 3D print that. Cylinders. Cones. I'm just moving stuff around here just so we can see them all. And toruses, which just means donut. The other mesh we've got is monkey. Right? So So when you're thinking about your primitive base shapes that make everything, a cube, a sphere, a monkey. Yeah. This monkey's name is actually Suzanne. This is trademarked by Blender. This is their little icon, logo, mascot. It's a thing. But it's a great shape for testing textures and the way light moves and stuff. All right, let me go back to my rubric here and let's see if we're covering all the stuff we need to cover so that we can cover it again later. Not Chrome. Opera, thank you. Okay, so all of the assignments should have a nice rubric here. If they don't, call me out on it and we'll make it. So then you know if you did the things you're supposed to do. So you made a plane, made a cube, a circle, a sphere, an icosphere, cylinder, cone, torus, grid, monkey. We got text objects, we got metaballs. Make something else. There's lots of other stuff under the add menu. The other things we're supposed to do this week is make a combined object. This is preschool level building blocks. This is not 3D modeling, but for this week, while we're playing with shapes, you could totally stack a cone on top of a cylinder and call it a rocket ship. I'd be fine with that. This week only. Yes?
So I know it says make a circle, but how are you gonna know if we made a circle because it's invisible? There's a black, I can't see it.
Well, I mean, I'll know. So you're going to turn in your Blender file, and I'll see circle over here, and I'll highlight it, and it'll be fine. Yeah, it doesn't do much by itself. But since it's in the list of things to add, we put it in the list for the rubric. Before we get too far away from it, let's go look at saving files. So the first thing I want to do, we're going to do save as. And can I do it from here? So here's what I do is I've got in my documents folder, I've just got a bunch of subfolders. So Unity, Adobe, Algorithmic, and then of course one for Blender. So I've got a Blender folder, and in there I will have a folder with the name for an assignment. So like I've done building blocks before. I've done this assignment before. I know, such experience. So that would be a good name for your week 1 folder. So you could come in here and there it is. So if you go inside a Blender folder, if you've got one, or you can make the Blender folder inside your documents or on your desktop if you're sloppy. And then this magic button here makes a new folder. So I'm going to make a new folder called week 1 building blocks. And I'll put my initials on it so that whoever's grading this will know who the heck's stuff they're looking at. Super helpful. And for me, I'm going to even put the year on there because I've got one already. So there we go. There's a folder. I'm going to dive deeper. Let me go back to Opera or whatever your browser of choice is. Let's see. So we want some folders inside that building blocks folder. So exports, renders, scenes, textures. We'll only need scenes this week, but it's a good habit to get into having some subfolders in there. So I'm going to go ahead and make export, renders, scenes, textures. Do it right here from Blender because I'm crazy. All right, and this is a scene, so I'm going to save it in my scenes folder and call it whatever. All right, now, while we're on the subject of folders, for this assignment, when you're done making ridiculous things, and we're going to do some animation, some other stuff with it too in a minute. So I'm going to go to Documents, Blender. And this folder that I just created with my initials on it, that's what I want zipped up and submitted to Canvas. So right click on that guy, send to compressed folder. What does it say on a Mac? I think almost the same thing. Compress here. Yeah, compress to zip, something like that. I generally go back and forth between a PC and Mac pretty regularly, but I forgot what exactly it says. So that's the folder with the exports and the renders and the scenes and the textures folder. And inside the scenes folder is where our shapes are at. That scene's saved. So that's what I want you to turn in. All right, back to Blender. Who thinks this is amazing? Who is ready to go work at Pixar right now?
No.
You're lying to yourself. No, you're not.
Thank you.
What's wrong with this scene?
No texture, no color.
No color. But the least we can do color. Like, come on. All right. So let's pick something. I'm going to start with this cylinder here. I'll just grab that. Anything I've got selected here now becomes the thing that I'm manipulating in this giant tab farm on the side. All right, so I selected the cylinder and it says cylinder over here. Amazing. So I come all the way down this tab farm here, past the camera and the printer and the who knows what all this stuff is. There's like a comic book box. I mean, a file folder. We got wrenches, all this stuff. We got this sphere down here toward the bottom of this tab farm. And that's where we can add materials and textures, or in this case, just colors. So I've got my cylinder selected. I've got the little circle selected here. Now I can just start hitting plus buttons. So I'm going to say plus. I'm going to make a new material. And I'll hit plus here again. What's happening? There we go. So now I've got a new material on this. We'll say material 01. We can change that. We can even name it. So I'm just going to call this green. And then I will change the base color here magically. So I'll click on the color bar. Magic color picker comes up, and now I can change colors. And since I named it, I know that that's green. So it's just awesome. So if I wanted a green monkey, then I select my monkey, also known as Suzanne. And I can come down here to this guy, because I've still got my sphere, my red sphere selected here. And I can go to the regular default material, or I can select green, and now she's green. No paint mess, no crayon residue. This can't get on your walls. This is the art you need to give your kids. Meanwhile, at my house, I have every color of crayon on every wall. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, and this we just keep doing that over and over again. So I can grab a torus. And I'm on my material thing, so I can just say, give me a new material for this guy. And now it's a pink donut. I promise it gets deeper. This is really just get familiar with Blender.
I also have a question about
Yeah.
what is this little like?
What's that?
Yeah.
That's a camera.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So check this out. So I've got one in my scene too. So this weird pointy box, that's a camera. And I can move that around wherever I want. And if I want to see what the camera sees, come up here and click on this thing that looks like a video camera. And that's where the camera is zoomed in at. So if I was going to do a render, I would basically just be getting the bottom of a box, the side of a cylinder, and this plane. That's where my camera's at. So I can now pan out, move that camera around, move them up, check them out again. There we go. I'm seeing a little more. So there's lots of fun tricks we can do with that camera, but that's what that is. So every scene comes with a camera, the cube that we got for free, and a light. So that's the other thing floating around in here. There's a light. We can also change the color of the light. All right, so while we're here, let's talk about why that didn't look like it changed anything. So at the top here, see I've got 4 spheres, circles, roundy boys, lined up. These all show different views, different versions of my view. So if I click on the first one, then there's everything in wireframe. I'm not seeing the surfaces, just the vertices and the edges. In the 80s, wireframe was cutting edge CGI. Sad days. Next one over is just going to be flat shaded. We don't care about the materials. We don't care about the textures. Here's everything with their faces. Kind of boring. As we move up the list, we get more and more detail. So if I go to the next one, which is what we were on, now I can see the colors. And the very last one will show colors and lights and everything else, and you can see that I changed my light to purple because I'm crazy. That looks awful. Let's go to the yellow light. So, yeah, so I'm on the last sphere, which shows all the stuff, all the lights and the shadows and the materials and textures. And then I selected my light and just changed the color. We can change the wattage here. So this is a 1,000-watt light. We can just go crazy and just keep sliding that up. How many watts is the sun? Who's done the calculations? No? 50 bajillion. Oh, here's a cool thing we can do in Blender. We can put mathematical formulas in any of these type-in boxes. So 50 times 25 is 1250, and that's what I got in there now, right? So you just type in whatever. 3 with a bunch of zeros. Oh, doesn't matter what color the light is, it's all saturated out. So that's fun. I can go back to my camera view and start moving stuff around and get a really nice cinematic view of a cylinder and a monkey face.
No, I forgot to edit.
All right. There we go. Mario Odyssey 2. What in the world? What'd you do? Yep. That's what we want to see. So back to this. We have colors. We have blocks. Oh, we do text objects, meta balls. Maybe we'll do that on Thursday. Something else. Combine objects. All right. So we need 5 different colors. I've done a couple so far. We'll animate a thing. We'll do the animation on Thursday. And then you'll get points even for the folder structure. So 105 points possible for this. But really, I mean, this is just an introduction to, look, it's Blender, don't be scared. It's okay. Honestly, for me at least, as someone who grew up and still plays with Legos, much more intuitive than like Photoshop. Yeah. So for me, 3D is just like, it just makes sense. So yeah. Engineers, Lego players, model kit builders, people who love Minecraft. 3D should be easy. The quaft. So, 10:20. Wow, we burned through a lot of time. Like quick. A half hour. And since people don't have mice, the more I do now, the more I've got to redo on Thursday. So let's just say this. Please bring a 3-button mouse on Thursday. Please, for your own sake. I have done 3D modeling with just a trackpad. It's possible. It's not fun. I actually got good at it, but that's like saying I'm really good at being a prisoner. It was awful. Get your 3-button mouse. We'll kind of dip into some of this again on Thursday, and we'll add more materials. We'll look at animation, things like that. So build kind of a cool little scene with your building blocks. And what we'll probably do is start bouncing spheres around or something. We're going to animate a few things in your scene on Thursday. So save it, have fun with it, keep exploring. And we have a little bit of time left. Let's do this. Yep, we're going to do this. This is extra level cursed. Does Suzanne need a body? Does the floating head bother you? It bothers me.
I've given my monkey a body.
Perfect. I'm going to give it something a little more organic. So there's a thing called Metaball here. And we can start with some shapes, but they'll merge in together. They're really weird. So I'm going to start with a capsule. So I've got a Metaball capsule. It's just kind of funky looking. I'm going to move it here close to Suzanne. And I'll rotate that. Oh, here's something else to talk about. So I just took my capsule and rotated it. Anything we do, there'll be a little dialog box that pops in on the bottom here. If I expand that, I can do some changes to that. So if I'm really, really like precise, which I tend to be, I can say that needs to be a 90-degree rotation. Thank you. I don't want no 82, whatever. That is now perfectly 90-degree rotated. So that little dialog box down there is awesome. So I'm going to move that closer to Suzanne. Get this kind of under her. I might scale it a little bit because that's kind of chonky. I want to let me scale the whole thing. There we go. Anyway, I'm trying to position this. That's not even the point. So I've got one Metaball object, doesn't do anything. It just sits there looking weird. If I add a second Metaball object, we'll do a cube this time. And it's already kind of rounded. And if I move this guy closer to my other Metaball object, if I could possibly. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah.
It's artistic.
This is fine art, people. Yeah, and so there's still individual objects, but as they're close together, Blender will blend them. There we go. So now I've got a monkey airplane? I don't know. I was going for arms and a torso, but it didn't quite.
No, it looks like a Togekiss.
What did you call me?
No, it looks like the Pokemon Togekiss.
Oh. Poker Man. So that's Metaball. If you're into more organic shapes, that's a good place to start from. All right. I have terrible news for everyone. My coffee cup is empty. Yeah. So that'll probably impact some grades. All right. So we looked at shapes, we looked at Metaball. So we will pick up, we'll do animation, and we'll look at a text object on Thursday. So whatever nonsense we come up with today, save it. We'll make it even more nonsensical on Thursday. Sound good? All right.